Welcome to the National History Day Teachers Assistance webinar. My name is Vania Boland, and I am the National History Day and Iowa State Coordinator. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are going to talk about why National History Day. So a couple reminders, you are muted, so please use the chat box if you have any questions, but you're always welcome to send me an email with questions or give me a call. This will be recorded and shared with all National History Day and Iowa teachers, and we will also be posting it to our website. And please join us next week for Building the Project, which is October 19th at 6 p.m. And as always, if you're looking for more information about the National History Day Project, getting started materials, or other resources, please visit iowaculture.gov/NHD. So before we get started, I want to introduce our veteran teachers who are joining us tonight. So let's start with Deb Masker. Take it away, Deb.
My name is Deb Masker. I have a different job this year. I am the IB coordinator at Kern Middle School in Council Bluffs. I have been an instructional coach for 5 years in the area of social studies, and I taught 7th grade social studies last year. I have been doing History Day for now 32 years. I got hooked back in 1989-90 through our Green Hills AEA programs with a lady by the name of Marilyn Kelly, and have done it ever since then. It has always been an after-school project. As far as History Day is concerned, I attended the program last year on writing historical arguments. I was also part of a Teachers Institute in Philadelphia about 11 years ago. And in my school, I am also the director of the Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy, and we offer History Day as an after-school program.
Fantastic. And if you could give one piece of advice for new National History Day educators, what would it be?
I guess take the risk and do it, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Lord knows I've made a million in the years that I've done it. And I guess always be willing to grow and to learn from everybody else. I feel like I've learned a tremendous amount from all of the other teachers that I've worked with over the years.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, our second Deb of the evening, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Deb Temperly, and I am the teacher librarian at Bettendorf Middle School in Bettendorf, Iowa. This is actually my 27th year of teaching, my 12th in a middle school. I was an elementary school teacher for many years. And this is my 7th year as a National History Day advisor. Participated in any other National History Day programs, so I just put no there. Some of the other things I do at my school, as the teacher librarian, I have a hand in a lot of different things, from leadership type things to team teaching in the classrooms. I help with our school yearbook, and I also organize and execute our Iowa Children's Choice and Iowa Teen Battle of the Books programs each year. The way that we have offered National History Day, I think our first year it actually may have started off as an after-school club. But at that time, I had been working closely with one of our honors language arts teachers. We have honors language arts classes offered for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our middle school. And the honors teacher at that time was looking for some rigorous curriculum, and I said, have you thought about History Day? And it kind of took off from there. So each year we have anywhere from 100 to 150 students who are involved in National History Day because it's part of our language arts curriculum at all 3 grade levels.
Fantastic. And what advice do you have for new National History Day educators?
I actually have a lot of advice. I've learned a lot over the last 7 years, or I guess the last 6 years. I guess if I had to pick out one thing that I have learned is that no matter what, you need to share and celebrate all of the kids' projects, not just the ones that might go on to compete or, or the super high quality ones, but I think all students need an opportunity to share and celebrate what they have achieved, because as we like to say at our school, you are married to your topic for quite a while. And a couple of years ago, I'll say everything is, I mean, I refer to a lot of things now as pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, we had an exhibition night just for our National History Day projects. And we invited parents, staff, administrators, school board to come and help us celebrate. There was no evaluation. It was just simply the kids getting a chance to celebrate. And it was really great. So that would be one of my pieces of advice, is to celebrate what they've achieved.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, Janet, your turn. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Janet Wills. I teach at Southeast Valley Middle School, just south of Fort Dodge. I've been with History Day, I think, 24 years as a classroom teacher, but I actually got involved when I was in college in Orange City, and Northwestern was hosting the district History Day contest that year, and I was asked to judge, and I thought it was a fantastic program. When I started teaching, I worked with a tag teacher, and the more I worked with it, the more I thought that it was really, the skills are things that every kid should learn. And so now I do offer offer might not be the right word, because it is a requirement for all my 8th grade students. And sometimes I've worked with language arts teachers, sometimes I haven't. It's a great program all around. I have participated in the historical argumentation series that Deb referred to earlier. That was last summer. And I would say anything that the national office puts out that Lynn O'Hara has a hand in is going to be fantastic. So take advantage of it. I do also coach mock trial at my school. Advice for new educators for me, I'm going to dovetail off what second Deb said. There are only 24 hours in a day, so don't kill yourself as you're trying to work through History Day. There's lots of awesome things, lots of fun things that can happen, but don't be afraid to not do everything. And you're going to hear a lot about the contest and how fun it is. And this picture is my students. I love taking them to the law library if they make it to the state contest at the state capitol. But there's great skills that every student can learn who participates, whether they are a part of a contest or not.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, all three of you, for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. All right. So if you've never heard of History Day before, what is History Day? National History Day is a year-long academic enrichment program that challenges students to research, develop and present papers, exhibits, documentaries, websites, and performances about historical topics related to an annual theme. Students compete in a junior division, which is grades 6th through 8th, and a senior division, which is grades 9th through 12th. And a non-competitive youth division is offered in the state of Iowa of grades 4th through 5th. They learn important literacy skills and how to conduct research using primary, secondary, community, and statewide resources. Students can work individually or in small groups, and participants learn how to think critically and communicate through various formats while building self-confidence and a sense of responsibility for and involvement in the democratic process. So I wanted to give that little blurb there of what National History Day is, but let's talk about what exactly National History Day does for our students. It's just so much more than an education program, and it motivates students to discover history by cultivating interest. Students are choosing a topic to research that makes a connection to the annual theme, and that changes every year. They're developing research skills. Students act as historians, discovering how to uncover primary sources, build historical context, and form historical interpretations. They're becoming experts on their research topic. They're presenting their research in one of the 5 categories that I mentioned, so they can build an exhibit board, they can create a documentary, they can write a paper, they can be characters and perform in performance that they've put together, or develop a website. And so we are actually going to talk about those 5 categories next week. So if you're curious about those, please join us on October 19th. And achieving success. We want students to gain confidence when speaking about a topic he or she has researched. They find passion by choosing a topic of personal interest, and the students increase their ability to articulate learning through presentation. And so, as I mentioned, there are 3 divisions in the state of Iowa. So there's our junior division, which is a pretty heavy competition of grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. and the senior division, which is high school, so grades 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And in the state of Iowa, we do have a youth division. So if I have any teachers watching who have 4th and 5th grade students and you're curious on how to get your young ones started, please feel free to reach out to me. These students are invited to our state contest in Des Moines, but they receive a participation certificate. So they are not eligible to go to the national contest. So the big 4 things that students are learning are critical thinking, problem solving skills, research and reading, self-esteem, and confidence. And tonight I really want to talk about how National History Day can support social studies standards and how it can help in the classroom. So we're going to focus here on how National History Day can help teachers with the K through 12 and create anchored standards. So I have here on the left side of the screen at a glance what the standards are based on. So for youth division, it's that change, continuity, rights and responsibility, which, fun fact, a couple years ago, one of the themes was rights and responsibility. Junior division, world and cultures, contemporary global studies, US history, civics. Senior division, we go more into behavioral sciences, civics and government, economics, financial literacy, geography, etc. And I'll talk a little bit about primary sources later at the end, but a lot of our History Day topics fit into these 3 sections. And so I will also share National History Day does not require students to work with specific topics. It's really whatever the student would like to do. But I have quite a few teachers that like to shrink down their topics into what they're focusing on in their history class or civics or their social studies classroom. So let's talk about the standards here. So NHD, they ask students to create compelling questions or research questions and supporting questions. So once they have a topic, they need to determine what questions to ask. We have to figure out what we don't know and what we need to find out. So we start typically with the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why, but they must dive deeper and create a historical argument. They have to make a claim. So what I like to say is National History Day is not just a fact-finding mission. We need to develop a historical argument and defend it with our research. Students are gathering and evaluating primary and secondary sources to analyze their topic. So they're working with teachers, members in their group, they're working with members of the community. That can be historical societies. You could be looking through even your textbook in class. You can be looking online for resources. So they're working with a vast majority of primary and secondary sources to help defend that historical argument. And those resources are going to be a part of their project, but that's also going to help them analyze how great their topic fits in with the annual theme. They must develop a claim as to why their topic fits into the annual theme, and they must use their research or their evidence, which is what we like to use as evidence, to support that claim. Communicating and critiquing conclusions. A lot of our students conduct interviews for information or discussions with other students in their group on their findings while they create a thesis statement. So we'll talk more about the thesis statement and developing that argument next week. Taking informed action. They are building a project in one of the 5 categories that communicates their historical argument, their historical context, significance, and we're going to go into all those beautiful things here in a couple slides and next week. All right, and I have divided up standards by grades. So we'll take a brief pause at each one of these and go over how National History Day supports these divisions. So if I'm going through 4 through 12. So if you are a certain age group, you're more than welcome to fast forward through or pause. So youth division, let's take a look at 4th and 5th grade. So National History Day supports, analyze the different perspectives on the topic. Does everyone agree? Develop a claim or argument as to why your topic fits into the annual theme and use sources to defend it. We also talk about cause and effect of events. So we also need students to understand the short-term and long-term impact of their topic. And that's a big part of the 4th and 5th grade level. That's the big section we want to focus on, is that impact. So 5th grade, very similar, but when we start to make a claim or argument and use evidence to support it. So 4th and 5th grade does follow the same rule book that the junior and senior division use, but we're a little bit more lenient on some of the rules, especially this is their first time participating in National History Day. So if you have very young students, you're just getting started with 4th and 5th grade, I'm happy to go over the specific rules with you, but really our big goal for 4th and 5th grade is to find a topic that fits in with that theme. We want to focus on our historical context, or what I like to say to kids is, if you could put your judge in that time period, you kind of have to drop them down in that time period and explain to them the environment that your topic is living in. What does the world look like at that time? They also have to explain short-term and long-term impact, and how does it impact us today? So we'll go quickly over 6th and 7th and 8th, but it's very similar for 6th and 7th for how History Day can support. So I'm going to go to the slide here. So we want to analyze connections and differences within your topic. Is there any resistance to your topic? How does this impact your topic's decision? What led them to making their decision, or what is your main event? Explain historical context and the impact your topic had on society, and how does this impact us today? Explain why views have changed. So a lot of the long-term impact, especially with this year's theme, not always a positive reaction to different decisions made, and we might disagree. So how has the decision of your main event affected us today? Do we still agree with the decision? Oh, there we go. So going into the senior division, analyze change, continuity, and the historical context from Civil War to modern American history. Find a topic that fits into this time frame. So this is where I got a little bit more specific with how History Day can support, because there were specific times in American history mentioned. And I've had quite a few teachers that take specific topics and share with their students to try and hit the standard. That you're more than welcome to do that. It's not required. Students can select a topic from local Iowa history to world history. That's perfectly fine. Analyze the relationship between primary and secondary sources. So this is where we really dive into, analyzing what a primary source can help us prove, and what is secondary, how it evaluates a primary, and what should come first. And also critiquing and citing sources. Determine multiple and complex causes and efforts of historical events in American history. So the big part with this, and the theme this year, is debate and diplomacy. We want to evaluate methods used to change or expand systems of power and authority. Investigate cultural advancements and or analyze the influence of social, political, and economic developments on gender roles and social status. That was a big part that I pulled from this standard too, that History Day can support. Okay, so before I talk a little bit more about literacy standards, Deb and Janet, would you guys like to share anything on, any specifics of these standards, or how you, use History Day to support certain standards? Does anyone here do that?
Well, I am looking right now at the senior division with talks about examine and explain the perspectives of the individuals. And I try really hard, sometime with more success than others, for the students to understand the other side of the story. There's always two sides to a story. And so I ask them, is there an opposing view? Is there a different viewpoint? How did that impact this particular event? And so I try to look at the standards and figure out how I can support the standards through what we do. And even if it is an after-school club, I try to support those standards in a variety of ways.
For 8th grade, the inquiry anchor standards are the ones that I hang on to the most. That's the ones that talk about students will be able to write supporting questions. They'll be able to think about compelling questions. And I have a whole exercise that I use to help students make those connections with those inquiry anchor standards. The content standards here, it kind of depends. I do have other ways in my curriculum that I address the content standards, because I do allow my students to pick anything from any time in history, as long as it happened 50 years ago.
Oh, nice. 50 years ago. That's great. So do you tailor any of those topics? Like, do you have a specific list they have to pick from, or it's really whatever they would like to do?
It's really wide open. I've borrowed slash stole an exercise where they learn to figure out, okay, what time period am I interested in? What part of the world am I interested in? And that helps them actually narrow their focus more.
Okay, that's great. Okay, well, thank you for sharing. So I'm going to touch on reading and literacy. So some of the specifics, so site-specific textual evidence to support analysis of primary, secondary sources. They want you to provide an accurate summary of how key events or ideas develop over the course of a text. They want students to understand the meaning of words and phrases, vocabulary, compare the point of view of two or more authors. So some great ways that History Day supports this is the students have to create an annotated bibliography. They have to cite the sources that they find and provide 3 to 5 sentences on how it was used in their project, or what from the source was used in their project, if it was. The thesis statement has to be developed. So a thesis statement is what we like to call the roadmap or the heart of the project. And that's something we will dive into more next week. But it is 40 to 60 words on the who, what, where, when, and why information. And it explains the theme connection. So that's usually right in the heart of the project. We also talk to students about why should we care about this topic, or what was that impact on society? When we talk about historical significance, I constantly ask students why. Every time we talk over about projects or topics or research they found, why is it important to include? Why is it important for us to learn about? And vocabulary words throughout the project that connect to the theme. There's an activity that we do with the theme is to pull the 2 big words and to have students find synonyms of each word that they can use throughout their project. But obviously, meaning of words and phrases that are used in the text, including vocabulary, to help them fully understand. Did anyone disagree with your topic? So we always want to point out resistance, if there is any, to show that in the project. Unfortunately, not everyone in history has agreed on every specific topic. That's why there is conflict. That's why there is debate. And that is a big part of this year's topic. So compare sources and use the sources that will support your historical argument. All right, writing standards. So research to build and present knowledge. They want to conduct short as well as our sustained research projects to answer questions. Gather relevant information from multiple authoritative print and digital sources, and draw evidence from informal text to support analysis, reflection, and research. Well, History Day supports all of these sections. So History Day, it asks students to develop, write research questions on your topic of what you need to find out to put in your project. Review multiple sources and write annotations for each source used. So what I tell kids is once you pull a resource, go right ahead, whether it's a document or Google Doc, write a couple sentences, you can always go back and edit. Gather and assess information from multiple sources. So we want a plethora of different sources, not just from print, but we're online looking at digital resources, whether it's from photos to newspaper clippings, to interviews, journals, diaries, etc. We want as many different kinds of resources as we can get. Another part of the project section we'll talk next week, but writing exhibit labels. So within the project itself, there's a lot of writing. For example, exhibit students have to write labels with each visual primary resource they have. There's a documentary script they have to put together. If they're writing a paper, it is the paper itself. If they decide to do the performance category, they have to develop characters and write an actual script for their performance. And for websites, I like to call it the electronic exhibit. That's essentially what it is. But just like with exhibits, website projects have to have labels. Process paper that describes clear connection to the theme and how you created your project. So in addition to the project, students have to develop a process paper, and it's a 500-word paper that talks about why they did what they did. And that's in every single category, which we'll talk a little bit more next week. But there is a lot of writing in National History Day. They also have to introduce precise claims, distinguish the claim from alternate or opposing claims, create organization that establishes clear relationships among the claims, counterclaims, etc. They have to develop that historical argument and counterclaims fairly, supplying data and evidence for each. Use words, phrases, and causes to link the major sections of the text, create cohesion, and clarify the relationships between the claims. So really, every National History Day project is doing a lot of writing and a lot of these different standards you can reach. All right. Ladies, would you like to share anything on those, the reading, the literacy standards?
I just remind my students all the time that we need to write with clarity, to use each other for feedback, so that they can get input from other people. I have a wealth of people that I rely on to read my students' thesis statements, and based on comments from them, we go through a lot of revision to make them so that they best fit their projects. So, it's just a lot of writing and a lot of rewriting and a lot of rewriting from that. So they get a great deal of practice on how to become more concise in their words, and how to use command terms and good verbs as they're writing.
I think if you want to get other teachers in your building involved, if you're a social studies teacher, this is a great way to say to the ELA teacher, hey, I have a great interdisciplinary project we can do. It involves reading, writing, research. And that really is something that can work for both of you.
And I was just going to say that our History Day program was basically born out of a need.
Oh, Deb, I think we lost you, or we can't hear you.
Use it in language arts.
Sorry, Deb, we missed that whole portion there. It was like your mic went out. Can you say that again for me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you now. It was strange. It was like it just faded out and then faded in.
Okay, I'll try again. You'll have to edit that part. Okay. In our building, there was a need for our honors language arts program to have something rigorous to meet, yes, those reading and writing skills, but at a more in-depth and rigorous level. And that's why History Day has worked so well in our building. And
oh, great. Thank you so much, Deb. Okay. So now we're going to move forward and talk more about the role of a National History Day teacher. So really, as a teacher, you're serving as a coach during the research and contest season. You're kind of the lead of your student projects and helping direct them which way to go. So I wanted to break down for the two different seasons. So fall to winter, we really get started with History Day in the fall, but we have quite a few teachers that start in early spring. So please do what's best for you and your kids. Either way, it's perfectly fine. We just want to make sure if they're going to compete that they're ready before district contests. So in the fall and winter, we're providing support during the research stage. So we're helping them find topics and locating resources, building that historical argument that we'll talk more about next week. They're starting to develop the process paper and annotated bibliography. And we may or may not start building the project. I've had quite a few kids that use Christmas break to do that. Or even some of their fall break, but a lot of kids use Christmas break or the weekends leading up to districts. It's whatever works best for them. And in the spring, we have quite a few schools that do conduct a contest in the classroom. This is not required, but it is something that could help them prep for contest and could bring in your parents and other teachers to help or edit. And also in the spring, we're doing a lot of reviewing, a lot of editing and contest prep. So for those of you who are interested in the contest with National History Day, please visit the National History Day and Iowa website on the district's contest page. And we have more information about dates leading up to contest, and that's where we'll post all registration information and how to get your kids signed up. But the big part, the big role that teachers do is help our students find powerful resources. And I use this photo, and the meme is called prehistoric Googling, but a lot of my kids that I've shared this with didn't know what it was or what she was doing in the card catalog. We had to explain what that was, which I thought was hilarious. So the National History Day program, we are here to help you. That's what my role is I am here to help you help your students. So please, please contact me with any questions that you have throughout the research process, throughout the contest process. I want to make sure that you and your students feel comfortable. And if you have any questions about working on it in the classroom or an extracurricular activity, I'm here to help you with that as well. So how can you use the program? So here in the state of Iowa, we have two specific ways that we see it. It's not officially a part of the Iowa core standards. Unlike Minnesota, where History Day is actually a part of their curriculum and they have to use it in the classroom. Iowa's not like that. So it's up to the teacher on how they would like to use it. So we've got two different ways. We have, it can be a classroom project. So it can receive class credit or a semester project. I've had quite a few teachers that use it as a class project in the fall and then encourage their students to go to contests, but it's not required. It's completely up to the student. And National History Day teachers can make adjustments, such as teachers can assign the groups. They can limit topic selection. Like I've mentioned, I've got a lot of teachers that have a list of topics that say you can focus on these and don't go outside of it. Select project category. I have multiple teachers that say you can do an exhibit or paper just because it's easier for them to use as a class project and to grade. But once again, National History Day is something that you can take and kind of plug in where you need it, pull whatever you need for your classroom. And then when it comes to contest, that's when you can start looking at the rule book. For example, the exhibit category, you can only have 500 student composed words. So I had one teacher who used exhibit boards as a fall project. And when it came time to the spring and his kids wanted to compete with it, then they went through the editing process and they shrunk down to 500 student composed words. So that's just an example of how History Day can work for you in the classroom. Or extracurricular activity or after school groups. So it's not related to any class particularly or specific classwork. Any grade level can join, especially if it's, middle school or high school, anybody can join. And you set up time each week to meet just like any other club. So those are really the two ways that we see History Day right now in the state of Iowa. And I just want to give a little bit of context of what the student project process looks like. So we'll walk through the stages here a little bit before we dive into and ask our veterans how they use History Day at their school. So right at the beginning, kids are looking for that topic, what they want to research on. Then they start the research process. This is a fantastic photo of two kids that came to the State Historical Society of Iowa and looked through our archives. They found some beautiful visual primary sources. They're developing a thesis statement, conducting analysis. And once they have all that beautiful information done, then they're creating an actual project. So these are the four main stages that History Day experiences. So we do have school level where we're creating the project, working in the classroom, and if you would like to host a school contest. But the big step for students who are wanting to compete is the district contest. So for more information about the district contest coming this spring, please visit our website, which is National History Day in Iowa. The state contest, so we have around 600 students who advance from the district contest. You have to compete in a district contest to be eligible for the state contest. And for a lot of kids, the national contest is the most rigorous part, or they want to, go fly out to DC and be a part of the national contest. But what I like to tell kids is that is maybe the smallest part of History Day. We really want to focus on those first 1 and 2 of building a powerful project and presenting well at districts. So I want to go into advice and questions for our veterans. I have up here that we've got 2 ways that we use History Day in the classroom or as an extracurricular activity. So the 3 main questions, veterans, I have for you tonight is, how do you prepare for the year? So once the new theme comes out, how do you kind of get started and get students introduced to History Day for the year? What materials do you utilize to help you and your students? And what advice do you have for new teachers? So Deb Masker, if you don't mind, we'll start with you.
Okay, I would love if the teachers in our building would incorporate it into the classroom, but in 20 years that has not happened. And so we do it as an after-school club. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2:30 until 4. And it is open to all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. It's kind of a come one, come all. This year I currently have 40 middle school students involved. I also do the after school club up at Abraham Lincoln High School here in Council Bluffs. And a lot of my kids have wanted to continue on when they get to the high school. And so I have gone up on Wednesday afternoons and worked with them there. How do I prepare for the year? As soon as the theme is available, I start doing my mental planning and my sketching out of ideas, and start to put my plan in place so that the students can understand the theme. I have a rule of 25 years old for projects, and so that takes away the current event theme or idea that goes with anything less than 25 years. I have a timeline that I have developed where we look at project ideas, and pretty much by the end of September, we have it down to 2, if not 1. And then we research in October and November, trying to build that great background knowledge on the topics. We write thesis statements in December. And then the entire time we work on our bibliographies, and then we start creating our projects in January. A week from Friday, we are headed to Iowa State to do our annual research day at the Parks Library there, which is a great experience for the kids. I pull materials from everywhere. I am not above stealing from any other program that I can use to help my kids develop good, strong thesis statements. I really appreciate the experience of the historical writing last summer. I think that has helped me personally, and then be able to help the kids. What advice do I have for new teachers? Give it a try. Once you're hooked, you will enjoy doing it every year. I always tell the kids, it's not what we do at the end, it's the journey that we go through. And I love to sit back and watch my kids answer questions at contest. I always have a few tears rolling down my face when I know how far they have come from September. I know the judges don't know that, but I do. So, give it a try. Call on a veteran teacher in your area to help you. I've helped a lot of other people get started, and would just invite anybody to give it a try and see if you like it.
Thank you so much. All right. Our next Deb, you can answer these questions for us.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, we use it in the classroom, like I have said, in our honors English program. And we typically normally also to our regular language arts students in our building as an after school club. And there are 3 teachers, myself and 2 others, who run the after school club. The other 2 teachers are 6th grade social studies teachers who are just huge supporters of National History Day, and they've actually been a part of the process for the last 6 years as well. So how do I prepare the year? We have what we kind of refer to as our home base. It's a live binder, and I don't know if anybody is familiar with the live binder tool. It's a wonderful online organizational tool. Up to a point, it's free, but we house all of our National History Day materials in the live binder, and it's linked on my Canvas course page. All the kids know where it is, no matter who their teacher is. That is our home base for all of our materials. And at the beginning, actually it kind of starts in the summer, I'll start hunting around for graphic organizers and documents that I find online for the New Year's theme and start adding them to the live binder so that when we start the school year, we already have quite a few files in there. And one of the first things that I really start looking for, and I'll even bug Vania about it, is topic lists. I start rounding those up. And Vania, are you hearing me okay? I just wanted to check my sound.
Yep, you're good.
It's good. Okay. I start gathering topic lists and getting those in a folder for the students in the live binder. I meet with the honors teachers and we kind of pencil out a timeline for when things will get presented and gone over in the classroom, depending on the grade level. Sixth graders need a lot more instruction on things than eighth graders do. And we'll kind of think about extra times. We have had a lot of Saturdays where kids have come in. The kids who are going to compete at contests will have Saturday work times, which actually are a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed those. And the other thing that I'm responsible for is our budget for History Day, because we have so many kids that participate. Money is a part of that. We do provide a lot of the supplies, and we pay their registration fees for contests. So I do check on the budget with our finance director in the district. And a couple other things I do to prepare for the year is I renew our Noodle Tools subscription. We have a building-wide subscription to Noodle Tools. So it's not just our History Day kids that are using that tool. It's our whole building that does, because Noodle Tools it's actually a very, very inexpensive subscription. And then we also renew our WeVideo subscription. We are a Chromebook school, a one-to-one Chromebook school, and WeVideo is an excellent tool to use for documentaries. And we do have a lot of kids that will do documentaries, so that's another subscription that we get renewed as well. So as far as materials, I mentioned that we have a live binder, and just like the other Deb was saying, I like to use the word borrow instead of steal, but I do go out to a lot of other states' National History Day sites, especially Minnesota's, to see what new and fun graphic organizers they have come up with. And so I will borrow some of theirs and anything else. And, over the years, we've developed some of our own, and I'm in a constant state each year of tweaking and redoing some of my favorite graphic organizers and forms that are used in the classroom. So that's kind of my role as far as gathering materials. And then as far as we have a process after doing topic exploration, and we have a form for that. Students will submit a topic proposal, and then we enter in what I think is a very effective, and this would be a piece of advice I would give to new teachers. We have a Google form that all of the kids have to fill out, and it's called I Have a Topic. And it's very brief, but we use the results from that Google form. We set up one-on-one interviews with individual project kids and group projects. And they sit down with a National History Day advisor, and we have about 7 advisors in our building. They have to defend their topic choice, and we put them through, we have kind of a set questions that we ask, and one of the biggest ones are, how does it tie to the theme, and what is the impact of your topic, what is the so what? And it is extremely effective. I would highly recommend doing these one-on-ones, because we have had times when kids cannot articulate one or two of those things, and they have to go back and look for another topic, because sometimes, especially middle schoolers, they think they know everything, and they discover that they don't, and they have to go back to the drawing board sometimes. But it's a really great chance for the kids to talk through their topic idea and think about, the so what. We always say that, what is the so what of your topic? Why do we care about it in 2021? Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend doing those little interviews. The 8th graders really like them. They if they've done it, if it's their 3rd year, they kind of get into it. 6th graders are a little terrified. We tell them not to worry. It's, we try to be helpful, but it's a very good process. So, and then after that, I prepare the lessons for each step in the process, and I will either share them with the classroom teacher to use in the classroom, or I will come in and team teach them. So it's been it's a great relationship that I have with the honors teachers, especially Kelly Turner, who teaches in our building. We've done this for many years, and it's worked really well. So in fact, I'm going in tomorrow to do a lesson on how to fill out their topic proposal form with 6th graders. So, okay, so yeah, that's me.
Oh, thank you for all of that. And then, do you have any final advice for new teachers?
I mean, I have a lot of advice, but I kind of talked a long time. I guess the other thing I would say is don't try to reinvent the wheel, and be kind to yourself. The first time you do History Day can be very, very overwhelming. I remember my first year like dreaming about it, and just take it slow, ask questions. And I think somebody else mentioned that, find a veteran teacher to help you, but enjoy the process. You know, it's not the destination, it's the journey, and enjoy it. If you're stressed out about it, the kids are going to be stressed out. So just take it slow if it's your first time doing it, and just take small steps.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, Janet, you mind answering these questions for us?
Sure, and I'll echo a lot of what's already been said. I take advantage of everything on the NHD.org site. Whenever they post the theme webinar, I make sure I watch that. I also review any notes that I made the previous year. In my lesson plan book, I always jot things down in there. And I just revamp some of the forms and stuff that I've used in the past. I update my calendar. Starting next week, every Tuesday is NHD workday in my room. And so I have a calendar for kids that, so different things are due at different times. So I have to make sure, update the dates on those. A lot of the material that I use, the things that I say that I'm revamping, come from the Minnesota National History Day program. So it's part of their required curriculum. And so they also have a lot of money invested in Minnesota. I think the last time I heard they had 13, people who work on History Day in the state. So I borrow anything that I can from them. And then NHD actually came out just with this fantastic book, and I went about historical argumentation. And if you're going to be new to this, they have a lot of ready-made lesson plans right to go for you. So if you want to teach the skill of research using keywords, I think there's a lesson plan on there for that. And then your kids can use it with their own topics. So I would use anything that's available to you on the NHD.org site. I think my biggest piece of advice, just dive in and do it. It's awesome. Kids get a choice as to what topic they're going to research. You learn a lot, they learn a lot, and it's just a fun learning experience for both of you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, all three of you. And I completely agree. We are, big not creating the wheel individuals. And Minnesota has helped me out so much, even as a coordinator, and they have a fantastic team, and they're developing resources that all state coordinators can use. So what I always ask teachers too is, if you've worked with a specific resource that was extremely helpful, I'd love to hear about it so that I can share it with other teachers. So absolutely, they say that at the national level too. We do not like to recreate if someone already has a beautiful piece put together. So I completely understand and agree. All right. So really quickly, additional assistance. So after this webinar, if you're looking for more help for your kids or for yourself, or just curious, we have Insider Tips webinar series. So we have webinars on different subjects related to National History Day, to category specific. And we are also doing 3 specific webinars with a colleague of mine named Andrew Klump. That starts this week, actually tomorrow. So we're going to talk more about historical argumentation, the projects itself, and writing specifically. So please take a look on our Getting Started webpage to see when those webinars take place. Ask a librarian. So if you and your kids are looking for resources and you need some assistance, you can actually submit a request to receive help from a librarian from the State Historical Society of Iowa, or our archives. Our fantastic librarians would be more than happy to help you, but we just need specific answers, so just more than your topic, and maybe that you're looking for a book on your topic. We need to know specific questions and specific resources so that we can help you properly. and the mentorship program. Students can get paired, or a classroom can get paired with a National History Day alumni to receive feedback before the district contest. So we've had a lot of success with this the past couple years, and a lot of my alumni have come back and offered to be mentors. I have quite a few this year. So teachers, if you're new to the program and you just need some additional assistance, the mentor can communicate with you via phone or email or Zoom. A lot of times mentors will help in the spring. You can share projects with them. They can give you feedback in a Google spreadsheet, or if you want to invite them via Zoom and help ask them to help your students with interviewing, whatever you need them for, you can submit a request and we can get you paired up. But all of these beautiful things are found on the National History Day in Iowa website on the Getting Started webpage. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And Deb, and Janet, thank you so much for joining me this evening and sharing how you use History Day. It's definitely going to help other teachers. So thank you so much. And if anyone has any additional questions, or if you want to reach out to one of these 3 teachers specifically, please give me a call or an email, and I'd be happy to get you connected. Thank you so much, everyone.